Welcome back to the Daily Drum on WHUR and Sirius XM Channel 141. I'm Harold Fisher. In less than 2 weeks, bells will ring across the Prince George's County public school system, ushering in the 2024-2025 school year for some 133,000 students. There are a lot of changes parents and students and teachers will see this year. And tonight we're going to talk about all of that and much more. My guests are Dr. Oscar Coleman, Chief Operating Officer, Kiva Baldwin, Director of Transportation and Central Garage, and Dr. Sheila Jackson, Director of the Department of Family and Community Partnerships. Thank you all so much for joining this conversation.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So let me ask you first, Dr. Coleman, let's talk about the new start times for the school system. Students are going to have to figure out what time they wake up in the morning. These are comprehensive and sweeping changes coming, of course, after the external audit that was completed in January. Can you kind of break down those changes for us?
Sure. So first off, thank you so much for having Pgcps on this program. We look forward to this opportunity to connect with our families through this format. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
We are super excited about the start of the 2024-25 school year. And as you shared, one of those things that we're excited about is our transportation action plan being ready for implementation. Superintendent House, who came on board in Pgcps the last school year, conducted an audit because he saw that we had long-time inefficiencies in our transportation system. And he wanted to make certain that we were serious and equipped to make adjustments that would support improvement long-term. Based on that audit that was conducted by Formative, a third-party audit firm that does this type of work across the country, we received findings in January of 2024. Based on those findings, we developed 5 prioritized recommendations that we could use to make our system more efficient. That first recommendation that is most fundamental to us making these adjustments is bell time adjustments. And so what we did as a school district, and we started this work in the spring because we felt it was very important to involve our community and make certain that this kind of wide scale adjustment, people had time to really socialize it in their communities. And so these bell time changes actually take us from having 17 different bell times in the morning down to 3, and 13 bell times in the morning to 3, and take us from having 17 different bell times in the afternoon to 6. And that's fundamentally different than how we were structured previously. And it's a great thing for us, because now instead of having multiple start and end times, we will have an opportunity to have a full hour between the 7:30 start tier, the 8:30 start tier, and the 9:30 start tier. And that obviously helps us with getting students to school on time, because there's more time in between tiers for buses to pick up and deliver children.
Mm-hmm. Prior to these changes, we all saw how difficult last year's bus schedule and pickup was. Suffice it to say, that unfortunately is not a new thing in Prince George's County. It was there before the superintendent House was there. This was really problematic. Mr. Baldwin, simple question: do you believe that your department is really ready to handle the challenges of not only the new schedule change, but dealing with the shortage in bus drivers and the like?
I do believe so. We are operating on the premise, progress over perfection. Very important. We have laid out a plan to reduce this. As we know, like you just said, this didn't happen overnight. So it's going to take us a little while to get back to where we want it to be. And so we feel very confident about the action plan that we have set forth. We have support from our superintendent, hear from Dr. Coleman and other departments within Pgcps. And so we're excited about this change. It's very important. Our folks see the value in it, and we're up for the challenge to make this work.
How did you kind of formulate the changes from the last year? What changes have you made through as the leader of this department that you hope will make things better than they were last year?
Well, to begin with, we are working with 5 primary or prioritized recommendations. And as Dr. Coleman mentioned earlier, the bell time shifts going from 13 to 3 and 17 down to 6, that's paramount. That's first. The second is we've had to do some bus stop consolidations. And we're asking our folks to walk a little further than what they previously have been walking to a bus stop to reduce the number of stops so that we can produce an on-time arrival. Third is really we are addressing our walk zones. We term it our non-transportation zones, but that's where students who live within that 1.5 mile for elementary and 2 miles for secondary, we normally do not provide transportation from their home to the school. But in many instances, we have provided those transportation opportunities. So we want to be good stewards and do a better job of looking at what we call safe passage for students if it requires a bus and that nature.
Yeah, Dr. Coleman, let's drill down a little bit more about that, because particularly as it relates to elementary school students, and these are the youngest. And I, as a parent, I mean, my daughter is an adult, but I do remember as when she was a little girl. And unfortunately, she did not attend Prince George's County Public Schools. She did attend a private school in Prince George's. But just the thought that your little girl or your little boy may have to walk probably gives some parents some anxiety, particularly those parents who have to get up in the morning and have to get to work and may not be able to take their child. What do you tell parents about that?
Yeah, thank you so much for that. So that as we think about the implementation of these prioritized recommendations, one of the areas that we have attempted to emphasize is making modest changes. That's from the bell time adjustments to the walk zone distances. All of that has kept our families and the student safety in mind at the forefront. Student safety is our number one concern for our community. So we hold that as our highest priority. So as an example, the vast majority of our bell time changes, approximately 80%, the change in times was 15 minutes or less. So that gives you a sense of the modest nature that we used to adjust our bell times. With respect to the walking distance, our administrative procedure dictates that a walk distance for elementary children can be 1.5 miles, and the walk distance for a secondary child can be 2 miles. What we found from the audit is that the average walk distance for any child on a bus was 0.24 miles, so not even a quarter mile. What we are implementing through this audit recommendation is a modest increase of 0.24 miles to 0.46 miles. So in other words, a little bit less than a quarter mile to a little bit less than a half mile. And if you dig deeper into that number, our elementary school students, we're prioritizing a shorter walk distance, while we know our secondary students can walk a little further. So I know that's a lot of numbers, but the point of the matter is we're really trying to prioritize safety by making modest adjustments where needed to the walk distances. Now, if we identify, and Director Baldwin can speak more to this, but He has spent time with his staff beginning this spring and continuing on into the summer, actually taking an actual look at sending staff to these bus stop areas to determine and analyze whether or not they were safe, and what adjustments we would need to make, or if we need to continue to offer a bus to that area. And so we're not going to put children in a position, or families in a position where it is completely unsafe for their child to get to school each day. And so, Director Baldwin, I don't know if you want to add a little bit more to that.
Go right ahead, Mr. Baldwin.
Yeah. So my team has spent a lot of time producing an evaluation tool that we are using, and it has great references from some national highway traffic associations, as well as our National Association of People Transportation. So we have some great references that we've been using to help validate that. And we want to make sure that we are making sound decisions about what safety is. And it's important that we all have the same premise on what safety looks like for our children here in Pgcps. So Dr. Coleman said it all. We are just here laying the groundwork for producing some quality work.
Dr. Jackson, I have not forgotten about you. I don't want you to think that I have. One of the two things that before the break that I need you to speak about. And the first thing is it has to do with the school system's partnership with the radio station WHUR and the backpack event that we're having on Saturday. Yeah, everybody's doing backpack events, and these are a lot of fun and what have you. But it really is trying to address the reality that school supplies are expensive and that parents are struggling. Talk to me a little bit about the event on Saturday, where and when it is, and just your thoughts on this kind of activity giving parents a leg up.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you
Sure.
for the opportunity. I did not feel forgotten because I truly work right hand in hand with both gentlemen here in charge of our transportation changes and overhaul. But this coming Saturday, at 3 locations across Prince George's County Public Schools, we will be hosting what we call our 6th annual Drive and Dash event, where parents can stay in their cars, drive through the line. There will be staff there to hand them the number of backpacks that they need, as well as school supplies, so that those expensive resources can be taken care of for them. And we enjoy doing this because, like you said, those supplies for students are so expensive and they're not getting any cheaper by the moment. But if we can do that to support families, we can help them get their children ready to participate in schooling. One of the things that's also been phenomenal with this event is that it's always been supported by WHUR. From being outside in the parking lots with us. We're at High Point High School, Charles Herbert Flowers High School, which is Central County, and Oxon Hill High School. And it has made a tremendous difference just from the encouragement that you all bring to us, but also the energy to motivate families to be ready to, support their children to come back to school. So we're WHUR is a partner, Pohanka Automotive Group, our own foundation, so many people, the Federal Credit Union will send volunteers out to help us as well to, again, encourage children and families to be ready for school.
And we also wanted to remind people that you've got to get there early, first and foremost. You got to be there early. And I remember this from last year, and I'll say this right before the break. And this is really, really important because there are plenty of supplies. But please get there early, but also be safe when you're driving in your car.
Absolutely.
And please be courteous. That
Thank
is,
you.
yeah, that is such an important thing. I need to take a really, really quick break, and we're going to continue with this conversation on the other side. I'm Harold Fisher. The Original Quiet Storm starts in just a bit. We will continue this conversation on Sirius XM channel 141 in just a few seconds. Welcome back to the Daily Drum on Sirius XM channel 141. I'm Harold Fisher. We are continuing our conversation about the upcoming school year in Prince George's County. My guests are Dr. Charaskar Coleman, Chief Operating Officer, Kiba Baldwin, Director of Transportation and Central Garage, and Dr. Sheila Jackson, Director of the Department's Family and Community Partnerships. Before the break, Dr. Jackson, we were talking about the book bag giveaway and safety and courtesy. Your thoughts about that?
It is so critical for families to get there. The lines actually begin. People line up as early as 8 o'clock in the morning at all three sites. The lines actually open. The process begins at 9 a.m. And so, like you said before, getting there early is really important. Having been out there at those schools, I've seen the lines wrap around the schools and down the street. So yes, we want folks to get there as early as possible and to be patient. Practice grace with the volunteer staff that are going to be out there Saturday morning, because one of the things that we try to get, I think, about 50 people helping out on Saturday morning to make sure that every car that comes through until those supplies give out will be able to receive what they need. And our superintendent will be out there with us. Again, WHUR will be out there providing music. We call it the mood music that keeps everybody flowing and moving through the lines swiftly. Again, we just welcome everyone. And we know, that it is this Prince George's County Public Schools event, but we don't turn away anyone who's coming through, seeking support for their children. So
one of the other things, and this is critically important as it relates to your office, Dr. Jackson, is kind of a new push to get parents more involved. There's an event, I believe, coming up in September. Is the Family Institute? Is that what it is?
It is.
Please, if you don't mind.
Oh, absolutely. And you will have to cut me off because I'm very passionate about this. But the Family Institute is our systems mechanism for making sure that we provide as much information about everything in which we need to engage families in Prince George's County. So the Family Institute is like our moving platform. What are the issues? Like right now, transportation. The transformation is really important. And so not only are our leaders here talking about it today, but they also have been holding sessions in the community where we have community information sessions. Our staff from Family Institute support that. When on September 21st, we're having a systemic family engagement conference, and these gentlemen will be the featured stars of that as well, them and their staff, to talk with parents about any issues that they may be having or answer any questions that they may have. But that is also an opportunity to build parent capacity to be able to support their children throughout the year. So many of our speakers will be talking about issues like maybe there are mental health or social emotional learning challenges that students are having. We'll be providing strategies. We'll also have a phenomenal college fair going on. We have an exhibitor hall, we'll have a vendor hall, and one of the things that always motivates people, we'll have free food and free childcare as well, because we want it to be a festive learning environment. And so that will be held on September 21st at Oxon Hill High School, and it will last from 8 o'clock in the morning until 1:30 in the afternoon, and it is a free event. So, we encourage families to take advantage of all of these resources that will be provided that day to support families to be able to support their children.
Let me ask all of you, but of course, I'd like to hear from Dr. Jackson first. But one of the biggest concerns that past superintendents have had, and I've been hearing about this issue since I was in the Prince George's County school system, since I was a kid, and that is getting parental participation. And there seems to have always been a difficulty in getting as many parents to participate unless something was wrong. And so, Dr. Jackson, obviously, I know you have the secret sauce to just solve this problem after decades. But from your perspective, and you've, if I may, you've seen a lot in the school system. Where the bodies are buried, for lack of a better term. So, what do you think is the answer to getting more parents to participate outside of when there are problems?
One of the major things that we've been working on in Prince George's County Public Schools is paying attention to building those relationships through the establishment of a culture of good customer service. All of the parents who may be having challenges in the school system end up in my office in front of me. We actually have a parent code of conduct that was established. And many times the parents who are just so frustrated do what many people do, like those drivers with road rage. Sometimes that trickles over into schools. And so we have really made a commitment in Prince George's County to make sure that we figure out, I love what you said, the secret sauce of creating opportunities for parents, first of all, to feel welcomed, to feel heard, and to be actively pulled in, to be engaged. I'll just share with you a quick story. That's how I started in Prince George's County Public Schools. I was a stay-at-home mom. I was the mom that people wish would go away and get a job because I was there so much with our 4 children, volunteering every day and knocking at the door with questions that sometimes school system staff weren't prepared to deal with. And so coming from that perspective, I learned that our school system staff need support. How do we help them build that culture of reaching out and embracing parents as partners and teaching parents that we need you to be partners? We need you to go to school before you get upset about something. Have good relationships with your child's teacher from day one to make sure that the teacher knows your expectations, you know the teacher's expectations, and you are joined in a conspiracy to make sure that those children are going to be successful. So it's culture change, relationship building, both sides learning how to practice mutual respect is what makes a difference in building those partnerships. And the schools that are most successful in our districts are the ones who have discovered how to do it. They create positions. We have parent engagement assistants, is what we call them. Some districts call them parent liaisons, that are our boots on the ground. They are there when someone comes to the school, a family, a parent who has questions. They are there as a ready resource. And not only do they help the parent, but they help the school staff build their capacity to better engage with families as well. So it takes one of the mantras that we created when this department came back into being is that it's everybody's responsibility to build these good partnerships. It's, as parents, we need to learn how to navigate the system. Educators need to learn how to embrace and communicate with families so that families don't feel like there's a wall up in front of them or a fortress around a school that they can't be engaged. And also, there are many parents who've had bad experiences themselves coming through school. So they bring that memory with them. So we have to be equipped to deal with that and to be able to help them overcome some of the challenges they may have experienced themselves.
Dr.
And
Cole,
Mr. Fisher, before you leave that question, if I could, I
please.
really appreciate it. So I wanted the opportunity to respond to that question as well. So I've had the opportunity, the privilege really, to serve as a principal in our school district at 3 different buildings, 1 middle school and 2 high schools. And I've thought a lot about the question that you just asked about how to move student engagement. And what I would offer in addition to Dr. Jackson's outstanding answer is that we really need to think about, as a community, what student engagement or parent engagement really looks like, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be coming to the PTA meeting. It doesn't necessarily have to be, if I'm working 2 jobs and can't come to the school, that I cannot engage. So we live now in a hybrid world, right? Where sometimes we come in, sometimes people engage online, sometimes they engage fully online. And so one of the simple ways that we're trying to emphasize as a school district is taking advantage of the digital tools that have been put in place to support our families. We're asking all of our families to do 3 simple things to start this school year. We have just migrated over to a new student information system. It's called Synergy. That Synergy system has a parent portal called Parent View. That Parent View portal gives families the opportunity to get information from their phone, from their iPad, from their computer, wherever they are, that a generation ago, we'd have to go to the school to find out. So you can check attendance, you can check for classes, each class, you can check grades, you can check assignment grades, you can get messages from your school or transportation or other offices. You can determine what your student bus information is. You can see transcripts. There's an opportunity to check graduation status. You can update your phone information that the school has, and even update your emergency contact information, so we always have a way to reach a family in case a student has an emergency. And so all of that can be done virtually from their home, from their job, wherever they are. And so I would submit that taking advantage of that digital tool to stay connected to the school is a very powerful form of student engagement or parent engagement, because it allows you to stay in tune with how your child is performing on a daily basis. So as I said, there's 3 things that we are asking all families to do. First, and that's whether you've enrolled as a new enrollee, or if you're someone whose child is just moving from one grade to the next, to first establish a Parent View account. That's the first step. Step 2 is to activate what is called a Stop Finder application or Stop Finder app. So once a parent activates their Parent View account, their parent portal, to see the student information, they'll receive an email link to get a Stop Finder app. That app allows them to see their transportation information for their child. They'll be able to see the route of the bus, the location of the bus. They'll even be able to receive an alert when the bus is by the bus stop or dropping the child off at the school. And that's step 3, is setting up what's called a geo alert. And a geo alert is simply just almost like a circle that they put over their bus stop for their child, and another circle that they put around the school. And anytime the bus travels through that circle, they'll get an alert on their phone. And so literally those 3 things are student engagement, are parent engagement, that help keep us connected. 1 is to activate your Parent View. 2 is to activate your Stop Finder app. And then 3rd, to set up those geo alerts.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Baldwin, and this kind of goes back to the thing about not only parental involvement. Parents are always concerned, obviously, about the health, safety, and welfare of their children when they're riding the bus, as was obviously demonstrated as it related to that horrific Baby K incident. But the bus drivers cannot be forgotten. And the bus drivers need to be safe also. What kind of conversations have you had with your bus drivers prior to starting this year? You've got great kids who are behaving, and then you've got some difficult situations. What are their concerns? What are your concerns?
Right. Great question. This is a matter that really is ongoing because no matter where you are, we're all faced with sometimes difficult student management. And so we want to, what I call, give tools to our drivers to put in their toolbox on how to handle different situations. And so this begins an ongoing conversation about professional development. And so we have actually formulated a professional development plan. We're reaching out to our partners here in the county with the police department. We've even reached out to some federal agencies to help enforce the language and give us tools to prep our drivers to handle any and every type of situation they may encounter with a student. As far as my department internally, we are providing support. Right now, our bus drivers, when they're there on the bus with the students, the main mode of communication is a radio. And so that's first and foremost the initial assistance given is to use the radio. And from there, we can initiate different types of supports to support our drivers. But it really starts with building quality relationships with our students. You know, our folks are the first school staff that they see every day, and sometimes the last. And so what we say to them in the morning sets the tone for the entire day. So we want that to be of a positive nature and a positive influence, because that says a lot. And so we also work with our folks to build the skills to develop positive relationships, because at the end of the day, that's what matters most to our kids. That's how we can affect positive change with them, is providing some quality relationships to support them in their learning every day.
Where are you, Mr. Baldwin, on fully staffing the drivers? How many drivers do you need as of today?
Well, we are still working to gather that number. We work greatly with our HR partners, and they primarily staff or keep those numbers for us. Right now, we have a total of 861 drivers on par, and we try to link that or align that with the total number of routes that we have, and we are still building that picture. We are going through our onboarding and our in-service trainings for this week. And so I hope to have a final number early next week to be able to share out. But here's the saying: we never have enough bus drivers. There's always a need to have a bus driver and staff and ready and available.
How do you compete with Prince George's? Charles County and Montgomery County and Anne Arundel County? This is not just a Prince George's County problem. Everybody, it's like police officers. Everybody needs more police officers. Everybody's trying to compete. And the same goes with the bus drivers.
Yes. Yeah.
May I add in response to that? Because you're absolutely correct. We are in the midst, and have been for some years now, a national bus driver and bus attendant shortage. And so, to Director Baldwin's point, our school district is regularly recruiting, even to today. So to anyone listening who would love a wonderful career in Prince George's County to support the most gifted, talented, smart, funny, wonderful students in the entire United States, come and drive with Prince George's County Public Schools, because it's a great place to work and to grow. And so we are reaching out through our social media platforms. We're reaching out through our digital applications to really encourage anyone who's looking for a career in support of children to consider Prince George's County Public Schools with respect to the pay compensation, with respect to the benefit package, with respect to in a meeting we had today that, you know, as you gain more tenure with our district, your pay will increase substantially. And so it is a wonderful place to lay roots and to provide support for your community.
Dr. Coleman, are you also still looking to hire teachers?
So that's not our area, but certainly I believe there is still a need for teachers, especially in some critical need areas. We typically as a school district, as any school district, need special educators, as an example, is typically a hard to staff teacher certification area. So I feel confident saying, yes, we could use teachers, even if it's only in certain specific certification areas.
What, Dr. Jackson, would you say to parents who are feeling overwhelmed? And I'm not talking about the beginning of this year, but just in general, with trying to either navigate some of the intricacies of their child's educational experience, and if a parent just wants to just throw their hands up and say, gosh, I need help, and I don't know how to handle this.
I always advise parents that the first person that they need to have a good relationship with is their child's teacher.
Okay.
Because that teacher, in partnership, gets to know your child and can help you in conversation talk about what are some additional things that can be used to support your child. And if you don't get enough there, every school has a professional school counselor. I can remember as a mother of 4 coming through the school system that sometimes you need to talk with the counselor. Maybe there are things as a parent, even though you're the expert of your child, you need a partner to help you do some problem solving, to talk about what are some additional things that I can do as a parent, because yes, we do get overwhelmed with all of, the demands that not only our children have to meet, but also understanding how to navigate our system. I'm very proud that in Prince George's County, we actually have a step for parents to follow. Start with the classroom teacher if you have concerns, go to the professional school counselor, go to the principal. There's a whole chain of people. And of course, I'm in there somewhere. You can always call my office for support to help you navigate the system. I have to do one shameless plug. I'm in the Division of Communications. We've been very, very progressive in trying to make sure that our website is up to date. So there's actually a parent portal on our school system webpage that has so much information, but also the links to who you can reach out to. Because as we are in a virtual world, sometimes we just need to talk to somebody. And so it's good to know that there are people that you can call that are, really those boots on the ground who can help you in real time to address some of those concerns. It is overwhelming being a parent. I'm so happy our children are grown now. They were grown and graduated before everybody got cell phones. Oh, I'm so happy about that. But, you think about all of the things that parents are faced with nowadays, and they do need support. I also encourage families in schools to reach out to other parents of the children that they're in class with, to form some partnerships there, to help each other work through some of the challenges that they may be having. Parent to parent communication is so important, and helping to shape that in a positive way. We help every school develop some type of parent leadership organization, whether it's PTA, PTO, or just a parent advisory group, to come together and talk about what are some of our concerns and how do we address them so that we can support children.
Yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to the best counselor in the history of Prince George's County Public Schools, retired counselor Henrietta Holmes, who was at Eleanor Roosevelt way back in the day, in the Flintstone age when I was in school. And she is retired but still around. But I don't know how I would have gotten through high school without her. I only have a few moments left, and I wanted to give each of you just an opportunity to just share some final thoughts prior to the start of the school. I'll start with you, Mr. Baldwin. From your position, just some final thoughts from you.
Well, just thank you for sharing and allowing me to
Sure.
speak. Just for our parents to know the emphasis on this transportation information, linking with our parent view, linking with our Stop Finder app, and creating those geo alerts, and just having a sense of a patience as we begin the start of the school year. There are a lot of moving parts to the beginning of the school year, with drivers learning their routes, building relationships with their students, and traffic conditions. And so we are going to have minor delays at the beginning of the school year, and we're asking parents just to have that patience as we get acclimated to our new routine.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Coleman.
Yeah, thank you so much. And again, certainly we appreciate you having us on the program. It's been a pleasure. I would actually echo what Director Baldwin stated, that it is important to note that Prince George's County Public Schools is one of the 10 largest student transportation systems in the United States of America. And so we are a huge operation transporting nearly 85,000 children every day. With that being said, we are also still in a national driver shortage. And so that combination of complexity and size and a driver shortage impacts our ability to provide service for children. We are, through our action plan, looking to make progress with on-time arrival, progress with the timeliness and efficiency of our program, but it will not be perfect. Okay, so that's really an important point for families. Progress, not perfection, is really where we are. This is a multi-year, multi-phase improvement plan, and we're in year one. And so we just ask for your grace. We ask for your participation, making certain that you download the Parent View and activate your Parent View portal, that you download and utilize the Stop Finder app and set up those geo alerts, because that will provide additional information to keep families informed. So thank you, and we're looking forward to having a wonderful school year.
Dr. Jackson, I'll let you have a final word.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us today, Mr. Fisher. And my message to parents, your children need you. You are your child's first teacher. And so our schools can only be as successful as we make them as parents by making sure that our children come to school every day, that they're ready to learn, that they know how to behave, and that we are able to demonstrate that we are here to support them and the learning environment. And also, my last thing, folks, we're in the DMV. So I will tell you, I go to many schools and I love to go in and talk with students or read to students. We are in the DMV. We have the largest number of free museums that help us with that out of school learning. So I've been in classrooms where little kids have said, I've never been to Air and Space Museum. I've never been to the Museum of Natural History. I'm like, you haven't seen the dinosaurs? Parents, that's up to us. There's research that says that children only spend 12% of the typical year in school. That means that 88% of their time is under our control as parents, whether it's what we do with them at home or in the community. And of course, we want them to sleep. But think about that. Schools can't do it all. They need us as parents working hand in hand, walking side by side in support of the outstanding educational opportunities that our schools provide.
I want to thank all of you for spending some important time in just kind of informing the parents, teachers, and of course the students. I really appreciate it. Good luck this year. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher.
Sure thing. That is the Daily Drum for this Thursday, August 15th. I'm Harold Fisher.